Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to another Through the Bible episode. It's January 2016, and we're going through a chapter of Proverbs a day. And today's day 5, so hopefully you've been following along, or maybe you'll just catch these throughout your life and once a month, or whatever day it is of the month, tune into whichever chapter we covered. All right, here we go. Proverbs chapter 5. The whole premise of this chapter is to avoid basically the immoral woman. It's a huge man topic. All right, Proverbs chapter 5, verse 1. My son, pay attention to my wisdom. Listen carefully to my counsel. Then you will show discernment, and your lips will express what you've learned. For the lips of an immoral woman are as smooth as honey, and her mouth is smoother than oil. Correction. For the lips of an immoral woman are as sweet as honey, and her mouth is smoother than oil. But in the end she is as bitter as wormwood, as dangerous as a double-edged sword. Her feet go down to death. Her steps go straight to the grave. For she cares nothing about the path of life. She staggers down a crooked path and doesn't realize it. So now, my sons, listen to me. Never stray from what I'm about to say. Stay away from her. Don't go near the door of her house. If you do, you'll lose your honor and will lose to merciless people all you have achieved. Strangers will consume your wealth, and someone else will enjoy the fruit of your labor. In the end, you will groan in anguish when disease consumes your body. You will say, how I hated discipline. If I had only not ignored the warnings. Oh, why didn't I listen to my teachers? Why didn't I pay attention to my instructors? I have come to the brink of utter ruin, and now I must face public disgrace. So drink water from your own well. Share your love only with your wife. Why spill the water of your springs in the streets, having sex with just anyone? You should reserve it for yourselves. Never share it with strangers. Let your wife be a fountain of blessing for you. Rejoice in the wife of your youth. She is a loving deer, a graceful doe. Let her breasts satisfy you always. May you always be captivated by her love. Why be captivated, my son, by an immoral woman, or fondle the breasts of a promiscuous woman? For the Lord sees clearly every single thing a man does, examining every path he takes. An evil man is held captive by his own sins. They are ropes that catch and hold him. He will die for a lack of self-control. He will be lost because of his great foolishness. Okay, so if you're a young man just starting out in life, 18 or 19 or even 15 or 16, avoid the immoral woman. What is an immoral woman? Well, basically a woman who flirts with everybody, who dresses inappropriately, who cheats on her boyfriend, cheats on her husband, and who leads other men into adultery. The Bible says avoid it. It says that her feet go down to death, her steps lead to the grave. So basically, if you leave your wife and commit adultery with someone else, the Bible says you'll lose your honor. No one will respect you anymore. And it says you'll give your years to the cruel one. Maybe then you'll be in a situation where people aren't loving and tender to you. You cheat on your wife. You go to the immoral woman. Of course, it says in the beginning, she's smooth as oil and sweet and lures you in. But in the end, she's as bitter as wormwood. Those relationships crash and burn, and you end up being with someone who's bitter and bad to you. It's just a real common sense thing to avoid is adultery. Why would you trade a continuous, awesome wife who loves you, cares for you, for one night of pleasure, and then you lose that, and then your life is given to the bitter one? Also in there, it mentioned that disease will consume your body. If you leave your wife and go to a prostitute or an immoral woman, she might not be sleeping with just you. She might have been sleeping with lots of people. So you might get herpes or AIDS or gonorrhea or one of these things. And the Bible mentions it, that you're eventually, if you go with immorality, diseases can consume your body. And he uses strong language like this to really warn you. And then he goes on to say, let your wife's body satisfy you. Be satisfied with her. Don't look after anyone else. In today's day and age, the best way I can tell you to avoid adultery is avoid it in the mind first. Like Jesus said, whoever's lusted after a woman in his heart has committed adultery already with her. So try to avoid TV shows and internet sites that'll start getting your heart to wander. You start wandering in your mind and in your heart. And there's some songs that say the path from your mind to your hands, it's quicker than you realize. So try not to allow your body to be opened up, and it's something that every man struggles with. If you don't struggle with lust, then you're just not a man, because every single guy struggles with this. And it's normal to look at a woman and be attracted to her. If God didn't make women attractive, we never would have reproduced, right? But there's a line where you have to draw in your mind and in your spirit, and we all have to fight that battle. So just think of it this way, though. One night of lust with that woman, next thing you know, you're going to be paying alimony. And, I mean, that's the right thing to do. But the thing is, you're going to lose all the good years of your life with your awesome wife for someone who obviously isn't a faithful woman. If she's cheating with you or cheats on you with your wife, then what's to stop her from cheating on you with someone else? So just the Bible really warns, and this is to every young man and to every older man, just to every man, avoid adultery. And this one says, run away from it. Flee the immoral woman. It's a double-edged sword. It's dangerous. They got some notes here. It says sexual temptation is often very hard to resist. These are the notes. Even if we are aware of the dangers and consequences, throughout the book of Proverbs, there are warnings against promiscuity. Infidelity goes against God's laws. In addition, it can destroy our whole family and our physical health and result in pregnancy. If we are given, and pregnancy is a great thing, but when it happens outside of marriage, it really destroys a lot of people. Because sometimes people then turn to abortion. It destroys that baby. Or that baby's grown up in a home where the woman didn't really want it. All she wanted was a night of pleasure. All the man wanted was to just a night of pleasure. So it creates pregnancies where the children are not brought into an environment that is as good as a loving family. Okay, it can destroy our family and life and our physical health. If we are given to sexual sin, we must run from it. From any situations where we might be tempted. We must seek help from other believers. Ask your friends and buddies, hey man, pray for me. I'm struggling with temptation, and just pray about it and basically avoid it. It goes on later in a couple other Proverbs. It's going to draw the line. It's going to draw a conclusion or an image of an ox going to the slaughter. If you could just, in your mind, when you start going towards the immoral woman, start thinking of yourself as that ox being led to the slaughter. It's going to slaughter you. It's going to ruin your life. So let's all pray to be strong against immorality, against temptation. And if you're a woman out there listening, be the virtuous woman. Don't lead men into adultery. Don't lead men into temptation. Be faithful, And if you're a guy, don't fall for it. Don't fall for it at all. Flee sexual immorality. The Bible is full of warnings against it. It's not an easy word, especially I think our generation is just thrown open the floodgates, man. I mean, you have Miley Cyrus, who's a teenager on stage, just bearing everything. And it's not like just, suggestive. It's right out there. So if you can, avoid watching things like that, just for your own spiritual strength. If you struggle with sexual immorality, then don't sit there and watch it all day. And we all struggle with it. Like I said, if you're not a man if you don't fight against sexual temptation. But God does not tempt us beyond what we're able. And with the temptation, he'll always provide a way of escape. So that's Proverbs chapter 5. Today, the warning to every young man is avoid the promiscuous woman. if there's a girl who just throws herself at you and she's dressed like a harlot, maybe that's not the one you want to fall in love with and have a relationship with. I mean, just be wise in who you choose. Avoid the woman who's trying to get you to cheat on your wife. With all due respect, avoid that. So that's the word for the day. Stay away from the immoral woman. That's what Proverbs chapter 5. Like I said, this book of Proverbs is full of advice for every day. And so far today, we learned to stay away from immorality. So I hope you have a great day. And just know in the end, you'll be a lot happier. You'll avoid physical diseases, right? You will not be publicly disgraced and shamed. You'll have a healthy marriage. So just think of all the benefits of being faithful and avoiding the immoral woman. So number one, avoid it in your thought life and avoid it in the physical realm too. Have a great day. Hope you enjoyed this. Take care.